Hi everyone and welcome back. In today's video, we're briefly going to tackle a word that gets thrown around a lot in self-help, corporate training, and personal wellness circles. The word is resilience, and we're going to look at the myth about bouncing back. If you've been struggling with long-term overwhelm, you might be feeling a quiet, persistent sense of guilt or inadequacy. You look around and wonder why other people seem to navigate their lives effortlessly, while you feel like you're constantly dragging yourself across a finish line. You might also ask yourself, why can't I just tough this out? What is wrong with me? Aren't I resilient? We're often told that resilient people are like rubber bands. They stretch under pressure, absorb the tension, and then they simply bounce back to exactly how they were before. In theory, it sounds good, sounds inspiring, but this is not totally helpful and it might actually jeopardize our mental health. Let me explain why. When we try to bounce back to our original state after a period of intense pressure, all we're trying to return to is the exact same environment, the same overcommitted schedule, and the same mental habits that stretched us to our breaking point in the first place. So trying to snap back to an overloaded shape is not resilience. It's a recipe for chronic burnout. And we're back at square one then, aren't we? True resilience isn't about bouncing back. It's about resetting. Think about your computer. When it's running slow, when it's running slowly, when the screen is freezing and 20 different background apps are open, you don't expect it magically to get stronger. You don't try to force it to run faster. What do you do instead? You perform a system reset. You clear the temporary cache, you close background programs that are draining the power, and you let the system cool down. Interestingly, I had this precise problem a couple of weeks ago. My laptop was running so hot, its temperature was critical when I did the diagnostic. I didn't ignore its state, and I didn't ignore the diagnostic. I unplugged it, I switched it off, and I allowed it to cool down and to reset over a period of 3 or 4 or 5 hours. Once done, it functioned beautifully, better than before, and it continues to do so. Our minds require the same process. The reason so many of us struggle to recover from difficult periods is that we carry a hidden story about what resilience means. But unbeknown to us, this adds to our stress levels. We interpret resting or setting boundaries or admitting that we're tired as a personal failure. We tell ourselves, if I say no, I'm letting people down. I'm being unreliable. If I take a break, it means I can't handle my life. These thoughts are not just quiet background noise. To our brain, these interpretations are direct threats to our self-worth. It's not the external demands of our lives that are draining us. It's our beliefs that we must absorb them without changing. So if you're constantly stretching yourself to accommodate everyone else's demands, you aren't being resilient. You're simply practicing self-neglect. And women are very good at self-neglect. The next time you feel like you're reaching your limit, I'd like you to pause and perform a simple two-step check-in. Step 1. Identify the background program. Ask yourself, what background program or hidden story am I running right now that is telling me I cannot rest, for example? Is it the need to be perfect? Is it the fear of being seen as weak or lazy? Step 2, clear the cache. Once you name that hidden story, tell yourself, this is an inconvenience. It's not a verdict on my future or threat to my survival. I'm allowed to step down from high alert. I'm allowed to rest. You stop trying to force yourself back into an old, overloaded shape, and you start building a healthier, more sustainable baseline. Resilience as an active structural choice, not a passive endurance test, is the ability to recognize when your system is overloaded, to identify the background beliefs that are draining your cognitive energy, and to consciously reset your boundaries. If you're ready to stop stretching yourself to the limit and want a practical, structured way to reset your response to pressure and stress, I invite you to enroll in my Tier 1 digital program, the Stress Interpretation Reset, that you've been reading about and hearing about for a few months. Truly, for less than the cost of a high-end brunch, it provides diagnostic tools, cognitive exercises, and my proprietary stress measurement grid to help you stop absorbing stress and start resetting your system. As before, the link is at the end of the videos. And I've also provided you with the prompt to find the 14 or so books about resilience that I've authored, which are consistent with the ethos of the Everyday Empowered Woman Emotional Stabilization initiatives. So here are the links. First, to the Emotional Stability Personal Check-in that I mentioned in a previous video. The link to Tier 1 Stress Interpreter Reset. Here is the prompt, Resilience Books by, and my name. Just type the search term into Amazon, and then the rest of the books and the author profile. And please don't forget, if you have a podcast, a newsletter, a coaching practice, community for women focusing on emotional well-being, get in touch. Let's see how I can contribute, perhaps by way of a guest article or an interview, a workshop, or discussion for your audience. The link to contact me is right there. Thanks so much for watching. Take a deep breath as before, and I'll see you in the next video, which will address the corporate trap.